Hey everyone, welcome back to the latest episode of Kryptsec, and in this video we are going to be exploring different vulnerabilities. So there are two vulnerabilities that we will be covering in this video, but I'm not gonna say it right now because you're gonna figure it out soon. Okay, so in the last video we covered episode 1 where we talked about how Kai and Lini escaped the facility, and Kai knew all the escape routes because he hacked into the facility and collected information through SQL injection, and we practically did that in the previous video using complex queries, and that was so much fun. So if you haven't watched that yet, watch it first and then come here. Now in this video, what we are going to explore, we're going to see that what Kai and Lee does after escaping the facility. They're free, but what now? Okay, so we're gonna cover that. So I want to give you a quick recap because I don't want to make this video too long, so we can jump directly into the practical hacking part. I know that's the one you are mostly interested in. Well, so here's the recap. Kai and Lini escapes the facility. They go to the city because they have the IM device. Remember the IM device? That device, like the doctor had it, and that device contains every information about them, like their home address, banking details, their phone numbers. Like, it's kind of like an identifier. So what Kai and Lee want to do, they want to back up the data, and they also want to transfer the funds without connecting to the facility network. They don't want to get caught, of course. No one want to go back there. So they go to the city and they find a merchant, and the merchant helps them transfer the funds. If you are interested more in the details, check out the episode from the link in the description, because I'm not going to like fully read it in this episode. But yeah, I'm giving you a quick recap. So that merchant is kind of clever. He helped Kai and Lini to move the funds, but he used some different kind of tooling, and that tool is called Mixer. What it basically does, it uses so many wallets on the network, and that's why it's hard to track how the funds were moved on the network. So this merchant gets very interested in Kai and Lini because they provided him an IM device, which is something he could only dream of. You know, these kind of devices were only available in the facility, and they were the test subjects, right? So something like this doesn't just simply come out of the facility. So this was really interesting for the merchant, and the merchant thought to take them to the Undercity. And that's where the interesting part begins. Kai and Lini head to the Undercity and hack into another system. So now we are going to do that. Okay, so as you can see my screen, here you can learn XSS, CSRF, session management, auth bypass through episodes, and hands-on labs. So this is really interesting. As you can see, the total number of available labs in this chapter. For this video, we are going to cover where did it go? Yeah, this one, attack chain gatekeeper. So when they entered the facility, they have to hack into the system. And why they have to do that, let me give you a quick view of why they have to do that. So as you can see, they entered the Undercity here, but the thing is the door is locked, and to open the door they have to get an access key. So the access key keeps changing after 24 hours, as you can see here. So without the key, the door won't open. So to get the access key, they have to hack into the system. So as you can see, they're connecting to the laptop, and Lini is using an Nmap scan to find the services and the ports running. So they found out that one port is open, and that's 5001. Okay. And 5001 is running a service, and this is how the service looks like, and this is what we're gonna hack into. So let's move on to the lab. So I'm gonna click on start lab. Also, don't forget to use my promo code to get 20% discount when you get subscription to Kryptsec. Okay, so we have the lab active over here. Let's access the lab. If you want to see more details, you can look at the overview here. Breach an isolated access terminal to retrieve the daily key that unlocks the entrance to the Undercity. Chain multiple vulnerabilities together to escalate from anonymous visitor to admin. So we're going to do privilege escalation. Isn't that fun? Okay. So this is a terminal, and it is running on port 5001. So Okay, of course, we don't know the user ID and password, but let's try default credentials. I mean, that's the first thing we test, right? Admin, and it says invalid credentials. Okay, what else we can try here? When you see a login form, of course. Okay, so let's try SQL injection, admin, code, or 1 equals 1, and then commenting out the rest of the query. So this is the most basic payload where we are saying that username is admin, and then we are providing a condition if 1 is equals to 1. And of course 1 is equals to 1, that means a true condition, and if it's true, then it means the query is correct, and execute the query and then comment out the rest of the query. Okay, so whatever password you write here, it's gonna get comment out. Only we are checking if this condition is true or not. If this is true, this should work. Let's click on connect. And yeah, we are logged in. It means this terminal is vulnerable to SQL injection, and it is not using parameterized queries, and that's why we were able to exploit it. Here, the payload made the condition true, and that's why it is returning us the first user. Okay, and the first user is Mason. That's why you're not seeing admin here, you're seeing Mason, because the condition is true and it's just returning us the first user. And we can see that he's from the department security, that's the email, and we have the access level of employee. But we want access level of admin. You can see daily access key. We don't have access to it, but we need access key to get access to Undercity, right? So how are we going to do that? So we can see there's another functionality here, available functionalities, update profile. We access logs, we don't have it. Of course, only the admin have it, but we can update our own profile, okay? We can play around with this. So let's see what kind of request passes through when we send request. Okay, we're gonna go to the network. I'm not going to use burp. I'm gonna explain you something really interesting soon. Okay, so let's change it to operations and click on update. And we can see the post request here, update profile. Let me maximize it a bit so you can see. Yeah, so you can see update profile, and then we have request, email, department, role, employee, and then we have this response, basically returning HTML. Anyways, so what is interesting here? Interesting here is role. When you see something like this, you can play around with it. You can try mass assignment. We know that there are different roles like employee and admin. So we can try changing the role to admin here and see if we can assign Mason this role, which will lead to privilege escalation. Okay, now most of you will think, okay, now to do this, we have to use burp, right? I mean, that's how we usually do capture the request, change the request in burp, send the request, and boom, we got mass assignment. But in this case, I want to try something different. Pretty sure you don't know this one. Okay, so we're gonna try manipulating the role without using burp. Okay, we can do that using the console over here. So how are we gonna do that? Basically, let me explain you something. When I click on update profile, I have to minimize. Yeah. So when I click on update profile, what happens is you can see profile here, okay? So this is the update profile, and when you submit whatever data you want and click on update, there goes the update profile request, okay? And then you're redirected to the dashboard. So this is a form, right? If I go to inspect and go to div, profile section, and you can see we have this form, okay? Let me maximize it. Yeah, hope this is more visible now. So we have this form, and you can see profile form, method, post, action, update profile, and then we have 3 div tags here for username and for email and for the department. But we can also see something interesting, another input field, and this is input type hidden, name, role, and value employee. So this is also being sent, but it is hidden. So we can try manipulating its value and send the request to the server to see if the server accepts that value. Okay, now to do that, we have to select this form, this whole form over here, and then we have to manipulate the particular value of this input to admin. Okay, so let's go to console. Okay, to exploit mass assignment here, we are going to use developer tools. We're not going to use burp suite. So that's why I'm going to use console, and I'm going to show you how you can play with the document object model to exploit mass assignment in this case. Okay, so we have the console here, and I'm going to paste this query because I don't want to waste your time typing this out. So what we're doing, we're just trying to select all the input fields in this form. Okay, so we're going to select every input that contains role. Okay, so let's see how many type of input fields we have that contains a role attribute. So we have this list, and we can see that we only have one. Okay, and this role attribute has this value employee. Okay, we want to change the value from employee to admin. That's our goal. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this input field, and then we're going to inject our own input field with the name admin. Okay, so let's remove this, and we can see that it is removed. And now we are going to add the main payload, or you can just call it JS code. That is basically injecting an HTML input tag that contains a name, a role, and then value admin, and it is hidden. Okay, so let's run. And you can see we are getting undefined, which is expected because there is no return value. We are just updating something or adding something, you can say. Okay, so now that this value is added, let's click on update. Okay, great. As you can see, we have access to the admin panel now. So let me close this inspector, and we can see that we have the daily access key and we are admin. So wasn't that really interesting? I mean, I think a lot of people don't know about this one. They usually play around with the HTTP request, but yeah, this was really fun. So let's copy it and go back here, and let's enter the flag. Submit. And yeah, flag captured. We just solved this challenge. That was really amazing. We hacked into it. Okay, let's just stop the lab for now. Great. We completed this challenge, and of course, there are more to it. You can explore all the labs from here. As you can see, I love this campaign map. So we started from episode 0. We covered database fundamentals, tried different kind of SQL injection. Covered episode 1. I gave you a little bit summary of episode 2. You can definitely read this in more details if you want. And then we have the web application security chapter, which contains tons of labs. This is really amazing. Definitely check this out. It's going to help you learn new things. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Share it with your friends, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.